It's a year on from the birth of the Occupy movement, and I think there are very good and fundamental reasons why it continues to have resonance, why the Occupy name continues to have resonance, why slogans like "We are the 99%" have entered the lexicon and the common language of many ordinary people throughout the world. In the Australian context, we may not have the 25% unemployment as there is in Spain. We may not have a rolling wave of general strikes as there is in Greece. We may not have the massive foreclosure crisis as in the United States, where millions of people have been turfed out of their homes and people are accessing the Red Cross for basic services. We may not have this phenomenal debt crisis as we have throughout the Europe, and with the rise of all kinds of nasty far right-wing forces and social forces lurking just beneath the surface across the European continent that we haven't seen the like of since really the Second World War. I think it's very easy sitting in the comfortable, stable shores of Perth to think that the fire that is actually consuming the world, the global economic crisis that has continued for 4 years now, and we see no even the beginnings of a resolution of that crisis. We see summit after summit after summit and world leaders meeting time and time again, and not even the beginnings of such resolution. We know that there's no solutions on the table from so-called statesmen and politicians throughout the world. But it's very easy, I think, to not recognise the realities of what is happening around us, whether it's the ecological crisis or the economic crisis or the social crisis or the looming threat of war in the Middle East, with the war drums beating louder and louder every day from Tel Aviv and Washington with an attack on Iran and the manipulations going on in Syria. All of these things seem so distant and seem so abstract to us in Perth because we're all doing so wonderfully well from the mining boom. We all earn $100,000 a year. As we know, I mean, who doesn't? I don't know anyone who doesn't earn those kinds of figures in the mining sector. But we're understanding more and more, even if you look at the mainstream press, the illusions that is fostered upon, that is built upon, with hundreds of job losses. If you look at the mining sector, for instance, hundreds of job losses in Queensland recently. Fortescue Metal Group, the flagship corporation that we rest so much hope in, we invest so much faith in Western Australia, has actually been downgraded by investment analysts because of I won't bore you with the detail, but there's been a massive collapse in the iron ore spot price on the global commodity markets. The iron ore price is barely over half of what it was 12 months ago. And actually, companies like Fortescue Metal Group will start laying off workers sooner than we think. BHP Billiton, Rio Tinto, Hancock Prospecting. Make no mistake that the cutbacks, the austerity from those corporations is on the cards, and it's around the corner very soon. And we need to prepare ourselves for the coming sort of crises that we're likely to see, and I think we are ill prepared for it, and that's perhaps the frightening thing. We have to be honest with ourselves and sober with ourselves, that if you look at the Occupy movement, it hasn't started by talking about the resonance that some of the language has, and I think there is that resonance for ordinary people, far, far, far greater numbers of people than are here tonight. But, and it's an important but, we haven't actually communicated to those wider sectors of people. We don't see them here tonight. We are failing to communicate our ideas, and that imperils the prospects of actually growing as some kind of a movement, an anti-corporate movement, anti-capitalist movement, call what you will. With each passing day, the prospects are imperilled if we don't actually learn how to communicate those ideas to a larger audience. But just in West Australian context, I think there are so many things that we do need to talk about. And I think here tonight, even with the small numbers, it represents. It's a gesture, if you like. It's symbolism. It's an image of a subterranean. One can't call it a rebellion. That would be outlandish, but a subterranean mood that is brewing. And there's so many things one could mention in that context. Whether it's Aboriginal deaths in custody, the horrific death of Mr. Phillips in Kalgoorlie last year, whether it's Fortescue Metal Group ripping up the Pilbara, whether it's the gas hub in Broome, whether it's the gas fracking movement, gas fracking efforts at gas fracking as well in the southwest, whether it's the fact that there are refugees without charge, without trial, being locked up in our own state. Whether it's the homelessness crisis and the fact that you have to wait years on end to get public housing. There's so many things we can talk about. There's so many things we can engage people around. And I give credit to Karun, Cowper in particular. Yeah, I really do, and others as well, but particularly Karun, who's really flown the flag and held the fort all this time. And again, I think there are reasons why we are here a year on, even though it seems hopeless at times, because there are opportunities. There are opportunities coming, and there are also dangers and perils coming as well with some of the things that I spoke about. But onwards and upwards, and it's great to see you all here tonight. Now, I think I am doing some emceeing duties as well. So Tony Serve is one of our compatriots, one of our comrades from the mainstream, as it were. A long-term broadcaster with 6PR, but he's one of us, I can assure you. So Tony Serve.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much, and I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land. I was born in Yamaji country, but I'm delighted to be a guest and very welcomed in Wajak Noongar lands as well. I do a lot of work online as Perth Tones on Twitter, and I'm here with a message of hope for you, because despite these massive challenges that have been so brilliantly elucidated by Alex, we are neither hopeless nor helpless. What we're doing with this global connection of today's global noise, of the indignados, of Occupy, of J14 now even in Israel, we are connecting the dots globally. We are affecting politics. We are affecting the military. Mark my words, I've been a Middle East correspondent and followed the Middle East for over 30 years. I reported on Desert Storm from over there. And if it wasn't for people like you, online and in the streets, we would already be at war with Iran. You guys are making a difference. You are affecting mainstream media, who are now using the videos we are uploading from the Middle East, from the gas hub up at the Kimberley. You people are doing what I dreamed of 41 years ago when I joined the Vietnam moratorium marches with then not Senator Joe Valentine, who was my English teacher at high school. For an old hippie who's worked in mainstream media for 30 years, seeing you here, seeing what you do in other places, seeing what you do online, and with your commitment, despite there not being any career opportunities in it, you are an inspiration. You are changing the world. We've got some major challenges ahead as these forces of the 1% try and fight back and claw their way back. We're seeing it in Egypt, where the Muslim Brotherhood's trying to smother the revolutionaries in Tahrir Square overnight again. We're seeing it in the media here and the way the police have worked against us with unfair suppression of our citizen journalists. But the great thing is, and I'll leave it here, I interviewed Malcolm Fraser 2 days ago, a 3-term Prime Minister, a Conservative politician, a member of the World Eminent Persons Group, and the message he had was he welcomes the revolution that you're part of. He welcomes you becoming the media. He welcomes the change from Australia just being an arm of the United States 1%, who not only run whoever's president there, but run our Prime Minister. This guy's 82, and he's evolved from being a Conservative politician and being part of the establishment to working with refugees as the founding chairman of Care Australia. I'm the son of a refugee, and I'm going to leave you with a parting thought. You guys are revolting, and I love you for it. Let's keep going, guys. Global Noise!